You're live.
Welcome to the Tuesday, February 15th meeting of Scottsdale Airport Advisory Commission. Could we have a roll call?
Thank you. This is Carmen with the roll call. Commission Chair Charles McDermott, absent. Commission Vice Chair Peter Meyer is absent this evening. Commissioner Corey Little.
Present.
Commissioner Larry Bernofsky.
Present.
Commissioner John Barry.
Present.
Commissioner Rick Milburn is absent. Commissioner Ken Casey. Commissioner Casey, can you hear me?
Yes, Ken Casey. Yes, Ken Casey's present.
Thank you.
Do we have a quorum? Can we dispense with the flag and pledge of allegiance in order to save time? Okay. Aviation Director's report is up first.
Good evening, members of the commission that are here. Welcome to the meeting this evening. I'm going to go very brief comments that were just had a magnificent week of Barrett-Jackson as well as the Phoenix Open. We were significantly busy, heavy pushes on Sunday and particularly yesterday. We'll have all of that data, and then Ms. Ferrara will be presenting that at the next meeting, giving us a full debrief of what happened last year compared to this year. And but it looked really, really good. I know that there was fuel sales that were broken. I heard that from multiple of the FBO operators, but that should do it. Thank you, Ms. Berry.
All right, thank you. Approval of minutes of the January 19th meeting. I assume we've all read them. Do I have a motion?
Motion to approve the minutes.
Second.
Okay. Stand by. We've got Commissioner Bernofsky
Yes.
and Commissioner Casey.
Yes.
Thank you. Passes 4-0.
Excuse me.
Thank you, Carmen.
Excuse me. Can we please identify the motioner and the seconder, please?
The motioner was Commissioner Little and second was Commissioner Barry.
Thank you.
Okay, agenda item number 1, Experience Scottsdale update.
Good morning, or good afternoon. I was just about to say good morning. This is Rachel Pearson with Experience Scottsdale. Thank you all for having me today. Can you hear me okay?
We can hear you.
Wonderful. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. It says I cannot share while the other participant is sharing. Oh, thank you. All right, I hope that you all can see my first slide that will let me know that I am good to go. Launching right now. Okay, wonderful. Thank you so much. So I am Rachel Pearson, Vice President of Community and Government Affairs for Experience Scottsdale, and I'm sorry that I couldn't actually be there with you today to provide this presentation. It has been a long time since we have been to the Airport Advisory Commission. In fact, last time we were there was in 2019. So this afternoon, I'm going to take a few minutes to update you on our programs. But before I do that, since there are, I believe, some new commissioners, I wanted to provide a little bit more background on who we are at Experience Scottsdale. We are a nonprofit.
Excuse me, Rachel?
Yes.
Rachel, we don't see your slide yet. It's a blank screen right now.
Like me to launch it? Oh.
Are you able to see it now?
It's still
We see the entire presentation.
Well, if it doesn't bother all of you, I'm okay with it too, as long as you can see it okay.
That'll work. Thank you.
Okay. All right. Wonderful. I hate to hold up the meeting, so thank you. As I was noting, Experience Scottsdale is a private organization known as a destination marketing organization, or a DMO. And any community that holds tourism as a priority has a DMO like Experience Scottsdale. Our organization has been doing work on behalf of the community for over 35 years, helping to establish the city as a year-round luxury travel destination. And our mission really in how we do that is to enhance the community by promoting the Scottsdale area as a luxury destination for meetings, for events, and for leisure travel. And in doing so, we're connecting with both national and international audiences, such as leisure visitors, travel advisors and tour operators, meeting and incentive planners, and the media. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about what we have been up to and some ways that we are specifically partnering with Scottsdale Airport as well. So tourism is an incredibly competitive industry, and the pandemic really did not change that at all. In order to stand out from other destinations, we have to ensure that we have a really strong destination brand. And so through time, research, testing, and development, we've created a destination brand that is effective and appealing. And it's because of the research and development that Experience Scottsdale now positions our city as the nexus of adventure and relaxation. And through our current advertising campaign, we're able to take some old school misperceptions of the desert and turn them on their head. And through the ads that you're seeing here, as well as others, these are appearing in high-end magazines, online, and on social media. We also produce digital marketing, email blasts, social media promotions, and radio ads. And throughout the year, we also have television commercials that we are running in key market segments, key markets like Los Angeles, New York, Chicago, Denver, and Dallas. And throughout the pandemic, through our research, we've seen a lot of other new destinations come up in their popularity from driving new visitors to that destination. So our television commercial is also airing in some newer markets. And we just launched a brand new television commercial that I'm going to share with you here. I hope that you get to hear it. But if not, hopefully you can just enjoy the visuals. It is 30 seconds long.
Okay, it's my turn. I'm gonna drive. You've been running through my mind, and I've been thinking that it's just about time we get together. I've been doing just fine, and you've been doing alright. Let's get together, so come on.
So with television commercials like that, and even our print advertisements, we really have seconds to make sure that we are making an emotional connection with a potential visitor. So we can't tell them everything about Scottsdale, but if we are successful in capturing their interest, we have a variety of outlets that tell richer and deeper stories about our community. Things like our annual visitor guide, our website, which is filled with stories about Scottsdale. We also run seasonal campaigns, and really this is about driving visitation during what is typically need periods for the destination, such as the holidays and the summer. And our holiday campaign has been running now for 10 years, including 2 of the pandemic. And through that, we have been targeting visitors in dozens of drive and fly markets, especially these last couple of years during the pandemic. We've increased that to include additional markets. And over the 10 years of the campaign, occupancy at our Scottsdale hotels and resorts in November and December has actually increased on average by nearly 14%. So we know that these campaigns are helping to change visitors' perceptions of our destination during these 2 times of the year. And through our branding and marketing, it's such an important component of our organization. It's typically what people think of when they think of Experience Scottsdale, but there's so many other facets to the work that we do. And one of those is our public relations efforts. Our public relations team is generating positive publicity about Scottsdale in international and national media outlets. So we're pitching Scottsdale stories, we're meeting with editors while on the road. And one of our favorite things is to host journalists here in the destination, because once they've experienced Scottsdale, they produce more frequent and more meaningful coverage. Just through the fiscal year to date, we've already generated nearly 500 media hits about Scottsdale. Another important segment of our business is how we connect with meeting and event planners. And they're really an essential component of Scottsdale's tourism industry. Before the pandemic, meetings accounted for nearly half of all occupancy and revenue at our resorts and our upper Monarch hotels. And while we continue to see the meeting segment, returning at a much slower pace than leisure visitors, our sales managers have been hard at work to ensure that we are bringing incremental group business to Scottsdale. So far, again, this fiscal year, we have generated over 200 future convention bookings and have seen leads for future business surpass our pre-pandemic levels, which is a great sign for Scottsdale's tourism industry. And again, we are securing that kind of business by connecting with meeting planners throughout the year, bringing them to the destination, and also participating in industry trade shows, hosting meeting planners for events in their own communities, anything we can do to help educate them about why they want to bring their meeting event to our destination over any other. Another important element of our business is working with travel professionals. A lot of our visitors, like our residents, tend to be more affluent, and they often consider their time to be worth more than their money. So they are turning to travel advisors and tour operators who can provide the best recommendations and packages for them. So that is why it is essential that our tourism team is connecting with travel professionals to ensure that they are helping to sell Scottsdale to their affluent clients by educating them during trade shows and sales missions, as well as product training seminars. We are ensuring that thousands of travel professionals become an extension of our sales team. And one important element that I want to note that involves Scottsdale Airport is every time we host one of those product training sessions, and fiscal year to date, we've hosted 13 trainings for over 580 travel professionals. These are both domestic and international travel professionals. Every single one of those trainings includes a segment where we talk about Scottsdale Airport and all that it has to offer. We also partner with Scottsdale Airport by sharing information on the airport's amenities and the fixed-base operators with these luxury travel advisors. It's been especially important as we've seen an increase in interest for private jet travel throughout the pandemic. And in October, Experience Scottsdale and the Scottsdale Airport partnered once again for the National Business Aviation Association Conference in Las Vegas, and that brings together some key aviation contacts from around the world, including current and prospective business aircraft owners, manufacturers, and customers. So it's really important show for the airport and the destination. And over the past 2 years, while much of our marketing has really been focused on attracting the domestic leisure visitors to our community, we have certainly not forgotten about how important our international visitors are to us and have been keeping them inspired about Scottsdale through virtual meetings with international media and clients. Now, once international travel restrictions lifted, we were able to meet with international media, get clients, connect with them again through trade shows and conferences. And while there are certainly some still, hurdles that remain related to international travelers, we certainly expect this segment of our industry to begin to rebound starting this fall. So with that, I just want to kind of note that while the industry has certainly been impacted by the pandemic, Experience Scottsdale has continued to ensure that potential visitors, travel writers, meeting planners are all viewing the city as a welcoming, safe, and attractive destination. Leisure travel has definitely been driving our recovery, but we hope to continue welcoming more visitors and meetings groups back to the destination in the year ahead. So I want to thank you all for your time today, and I'm happy to answer any questions if you do have any.
This is John Berry. Thank you, Rachel, for the presentation. We appreciate everything you do helping the air park also.
Well, thank you so much. It's certainly an important component of our community and an important economic center for us.
All right, Rachel, thanks very much. Talk to you soon.
Thank you.
Number 2, discussion and action on the 5-year capital improvement program.
Thank you very much.
Carmen.
This is Carmen. Thank you, commissioners. And can you see the slide? So I'm going to go over the 5-year ACIP covering 22-23 through 26-27. Won't take me very long since most of you are familiar with this presentation. Presentation format is the same as prior years, but this year we have very pretty new slides. Thanks to Sarah. Okay, next slide. So the airport will go through 2 capital planning processes each year. We will start in the spring, summertime. We will work with the Federal Aviation Administration and the State Aeronautics Division to talk about the different projects that we have in our 5-year plan. We're looking at very different sources to help us put that list of projects together, including the Airport Master Plan, City's General Plan, Mayor and Council goals, as well as Airport Advisory Commission. We also look at stakeholder input and staff. And one of the projects we actually have generated because of a staff member's recommendation, which I'll cover in another slide. As you know, the grant funding is very important for our projects. If we don't get grant funding in a particular year, we'll most likely push the project to a following year. But the Federal Aviation Administration will cover 91.06% of the cost. The state covers 4.47%, and then we also do a 4.47% match. This past year, the FAA did cover 100% of the funds for the runway project, so that was a really good project to cover at 100%. Otherwise, our share would have been probably $500,000 for that. Some of our projects are also state grant projects, and that is at a 90-10 split. Next slide, please. So this is the proposed list of our capital projects over the next 5 years. Everyone in there except for the third project is a grant-eligible project. In the next few slides, I'm going to cover each of the fiscal years, but they're color-coded to break them down. Also want to point out 3 projects at the very bottom in white. Every year we plug in $200,000 for airport pavement preservation. That's to fix any areas of apron, taxiways that could use some funds, crack ceiling, things like that. We usually use up the full 200, and then we also have 2 grant contingencies in there. Next slide. So this covers the projects year by year. So for fiscal year 22-23, we have 3 projects listed. The first one is currently under design, and this is a project that a staff member had made a recommendation based on a lot of the activity in the mornings with flight school, multiple aircraft trying to depart. So it's now been incorporated to include kind of a separate run-up area, but that's the taxiway alpha and connector improvements. This is split out into 2 phases. This first phase will cover 4 of the taxiway connectors as well as the run-up area, and that's shown in red on the north end. The second one, number 2, is an environmental assessment for land acquisition. So that one is shown in kind of in the middle there, number 2. That's a parcel that was recently acquired by Jet Aviation, and not so much an environmental assessment as it is an easement at this point. So most likely we're not going to use that full $100,000, but there might be some expenses that we have to pay. The third project, you'll see the red dots there on the southern half. That is replacing the apron ramp fixtures with LED lighting. It's going to save some costs over the long term. It's going to improve the efficiency, spread the ramp lighting, be better for viewing, increase safety. So that's a $50,000 project. That's aviation funds, so we would pay that out of our funds and not a grant. And then for fiscal year 23-24, we also have another 3 projects. The first one is the rehab of Airport Drive from the south to the north end, the main drive that provides public access to the businesses on the west side of the airport. So that is a $933,000 rehab, and that's a state 90-10 split. Project number 2 is the reconstruction of taxiway alpha and connectors. So the first phase concentrated on connectors on the north end. This second phase, we're kind of going down south a little bit, so you can see in red those connectors, and that's at $3.1 million. And then the third project is the Kilo Ramp Rehab. So this is on the north end of the airport. It's in the green there. It's been pushing out for several years. The Alpha project did take higher priority, and the cost did decrease because we've added the new box hangars, and so we could decrease the scope of that project. So it is $3.1 million. For fiscal year 24-25, we have 2 projects. The first one is not shown on the map, but it's an update to the airport master plan at a cost of $400,000, and this is a grant-eligible project. By 2024, the master plan will be nearly 10 years old, so this is going to update airport facilities, our demand forecast, and give us that 20-year blueprint for projects that we need to take. And then the second project is the reconstruction of the Greenway taxi lane and Alpha bypass. That's at $785,000. So that section of Greenway taxi lane gets heavy use for the aircraft going through that gate into the air park. So this project involves reconstruction of 3,300 square yards of existing asphalt up to that gate and reconfiguration of the airport service road in front of the ops building. Next slide. Fiscal year 25-26 has 2 projects as well. The first is the design and construction of the 3 new taxiway Bravo exits. You can kind of see them in red there. The north, middle, and south end of the field. So that is going to include shoulders, lighting, and signage, and the cost of that is about $2.3 million. These new angled high-speed exits will improve the traffic flow and increase efficiency. And then project number 2 is not shown on the map, but that's an airport drainage master plan update, last completed in 2007. So the results of that study will result in possibly some future projects related to improved airfield drainage. And that study would be prepared by an engineering firm at a cost of $400,000. And our final year is 26-27. We have just 1 project there right now, reconstruction of the south area apron adjacent to Ross Aviation. That section of apron gets heavy usage, and with the recent developments in that area, it's about an area of 350 by 375 feet that would undergo some reconstruction. That's it. That covers the 5-year list. As part of the packet, you will have the details and the costs and the program year, so those come right out of the database, broken down by funding source as well. And at this time, I'm happy to answer any questions that you have about the project.
Yeah, thanks, Commissioner Berry. I don't have a question, just a comment. With the construction price increases that I'm seeing in my business, these numbers are not going to be the numbers. Yeah, obviously. Yeah. So for the grant, the people that give the grants, FAA and the state, I'm sure understand these are plug-ins for now, right?
Correct. We're mostly concerned about the next year. And so with our engineers on call, they're refining the scope, coming up with much better cost estimates. But yeah, the 4 years out are more of a plug-in. But each year we do review the projects, and our engineers do reevaluate and adjust. So a lot of the costs will have increased, actually, over the prior year. But yeah.
All right, thanks, Carmen.
Mm-hmm.
I do have a question. Given how busy the airport is now, the number of takeoffs and landings, is there any thought ever put into how to improve the efficiency of moving traffic either through on the ground? I know the FAA can't do anything, but moving traffic through in a more efficient manner so you can handle more aircraft.
Thank you, Commissioner Little. Yes, as a matter of fact, that project, the very first project we talked about, is exactly why we moved that up to the very top of the list, and had several conversations with the FAA about it because they didn't have any funding for us, and now they understand the concerns. And basically what that run-up area is going to do, which Mr. Reed will show you in more detail, an actual graphic and during the construction report, it's going to relocate the single-engine piston folks into a hold bay area so they can do their run-ups and their normal training and allow the corporate aircraft to depart once they get IFR clearance out of the Phoenix TRACON. So that should help significantly with capacity. The air traffic control tower was on board with that. We had our runway safety action team, which is an annual thing that we do, that the air traffic control folks brought that up. It's in our program now. So that's kind of the best we can do at this time. And I know that air traffic is always looking at possible changes to airspace that may help with the traffic. I'm not sure if there's going to be procedure changes, but they're trying to do other things to make it work.
Thanks, Gary.
Hey, thanks. Next is the monthly construction report.
Mr. Chair, we do need an action on this to make sure you guys recommend it to
on this?
There is.
So do we need a motion to approve the 5-year plan as presently stated?
Commissioner Little, second.
Okay. And this is Carmen with the vote. Commissioner Bernowski?
Yes.
Thank you. And Commissioner Casey?
Yes.
Thank you. 4-0, passed.
Thanks. Now we can have a monthly construction report from Chris Reed.
Thank you, Commissioners. This month's construction report, do have a little bit of activity here. I mentioned that we were going to start the fencing project on Frank Lloyd Wright. So you can see the first picture is them, the posts in the ground and getting the panels ready to weld into place. And next picture will show a section that is all welded up and done. We've completed about 500 feet along Frank Lloyd Wright and about another 500 feet to go, and that section will be done, and then we'll move to phase 2, which is down by Redfield and Thunderbird Road. The project that Gary talked about, the Taxiway A North Rehabilitation and Run-Up Area Project, is in design. We did get concurrence from the FAA to move from 30% design to 90% design. So our engineers are working diligently on that. And then the graphic that Gary also mentioned, next down a little bit, please, shows you the shows you the areas that we're going to do. Isn't it touch screen? Okay. So this graphic shows you the sections that we're going to be rehabilitating. You'll notice a couple of them are color-coded. The red section that is to the left is broken out by, we're getting a couple different grants for this particular project, one of which is coming from the bipartisan infrastructure law, and we're getting $763,000. So that section there is for that, and then the green section shows you the rest of the project area, including those run-up bays way to the right there, to kind of keep the small flight school aircraft separated from the corporate aircraft while doing the run-ups prior to flight. The other thing that you'll notice is that at Bravo 15, the taxiway that goes to the runway, the second from the right, you can see there's a diagonal one that's hatched out. That's the current configuration. We are going to change that to a 90-degree angle there, as shown there. That is because the FAA doesn't, they prefer it like that because when you're waiting for takeoff at the whole bar, instead of having to look up left over your shoulder to see if anybody's coming in for a landing, it's a lot easier when you're at a 90-degree as opposed to that 45-degree. So then the final light blue piece there is showing, it's light blue because we're not sure if we're going to have enough funding to do it, but if we do, we're gonna slide that intersection that's Alpha 13. We're going to slide that further to the south. Again, FAA, if you notice that we have a ramp entrance coming from one of our aircraft gates, and it goes straight across directly to the runway. And the FAA does not like that. They don't like those straight shots. So we're wanting to offset that so there's no more straight shot to the runway. So that's a little description of that project. Any questions?
No, thanks, Chris. You're up also for the operations report. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
This is Ken Casey. Just a couple questions on that, Chris, just so I understand. I'm looking at this on the computer, so apologize. So the hatched, they're proposing, the hatched is what's proposed to get a 45-degree angle when they're looking at airplanes on short final, correct? That's what's proposed?
Commissioner Casey, actually, that hatched 45-degree is existing. And so we're looking to change it to that 90-degree that you see to the left of it.
in the green to the 90-degree, but okay.
Correct.
And then okay, I got that. And then the blues possibly. But what about, have they looked at doing like a high speed off a little farther down the runway as a proposal?
Commissioner Casey, we do have several high speeds already coming off the runway on Alpha and Bravo sides. We just built, the last one we built about 4 or 5 years ago was Alpha 4 intersection. So we have been doing that, and I think the last project on Carmen's list did show a few more exits on the Bravo side taxiway. So that's a couple other things that we've been doing to enhance capacity, get the aircraft off the runway quicker and the next one into the air.
Okay, no, thank you, and that helps. It just on mine only goes down past the 1,000-footers on the image that I can see right here, so it doesn't show the proposed one. But yeah, that'd be great. So you're saying that isn't a plan for maybe some additional of that too? That'd be great. So thank you very much.
Right. Thank you.
Any other questions? And let's go to the monthly operations report, also from Chris Reed.
Thank you, Commissioners. Typical operational report for January. First section shows you the number of based aircraft by type, and Commissioner Casey, you asked me to break it down a little bit further. So I did that, and hopefully that is what you were wanting to see. If it was not, please let me know, and I can make some adjustments. But that's the most detailed data I can get as far as types. So just, again, let me know if that's what you wanted to see or not.
That's
Next,
perfect.
you can
Thank
see,
you for doing that. That's perfect. That I appreciate that. That makes it much clearer for separating the turboprops and the pistons. Thank you.
Okay, great. You're welcome. Next section shows the operations. So you can see the total ops are kind of doing what they've been doing, going down a little bit with mostly due to the local operations dropping. And then the next row, you can see the IFRs are actually doing quite well again compared to last year, up 26.2%, which I think was for December. So IFR jet operations are really increasing. So next is the alerts. So you notice we did have a couple of alert 3s. So we had a runway excursion for Piper PA-46 collapsed nose gear. Then we had alert 2 for 172 with rough running engine, and then the other alert 3 was a Cessna 150 that got into the air, had some kind of issue and decided to put it back down, and while doing so, snapped the nose wheel off. Incidents are listed below. You can see there's some fuel activity there again, unfortunately. Some of it's, pilot error, fuel trucks blown hydraulic lines and stuff like that. So there's not a lot of, the typical fueler negligence and just flat out spilling fuel. So hopefully these are kind of anomalies, and we'll get back to another fuel leak-free report for next month. Enforcement actions there in the next section. Nothing out of the ordinary there. Then down to the U.S. Customs report, and Customs is just really going gangbusters. So the revenue for the month of January is $131,250. Total uses 224, and then the U.S. visit uses were at 35. Then you can see the nationalities of the folks that were on those 35 flights, and then the comparison of this year to last year, fiscal year to date. So you see 567 versus 402 last year. And again, Customs was back in gear last year at this time. They had recovered from COVID quite nicely. So this being even higher just shows that people are really using that service here. And then you can see the number of uses for the month, 224 versus 171 last year, and 927 versus 721 fiscal year-to-date uses. And we had 4 PPRs for the aircraft going out over 75,000 pounds, under 100,000 pounds. With that, I'll take any questions.
If no questions, we'll move on to the financial report for December from Carmen.
Thank you, Commissioners. In your packets, you have the report for December 2021. Upper right-hand corner, showing our revenues and expenses for year-to-date. Approved budget was $2.5 million. Our actuals came in at $3.7. There is a variance that has been corrected partially for January and for February, so that variance will shrink down a little bit in the next couple of months. On the expense side, our budget was $1.4 million. Actuals came in lower at $1.3 million. December monthly comparison is right below. So compared to last year, revenues are higher than the prior year by $106,000. Expenses were slightly lower this year by $34,000. On the left side, the aviation fund cash balance is $3.79 million as of December 31st. Our accounts receivable aging report is in the middle, and down on the bottom half is the fuel report. FBO sales were 77.7% of total fuel, avgas 2.1%, and the air park operators were at 20.2%. We're up 38% over last December, which is pretty significant, 484,000 gallon difference. And for year to date, we're up 12%, which is really good considering we had a runway closure for part of that. Yep, that's it. Any questions about the report?
No, thanks, Carmen. And Sarah's going to give us...
Carmen, I had a question. This is Larry.
Go ahead, Gary.
So, what's been happening to the fuel cost lately with all of the increase in general fuel? Is aviation fuel going up dramatically?
No, the price of the fuel does not factor into this report. What this report is showing is strictly the fuel gallons uploaded, and so it doesn't factor. I don't know what the price is right now for the FBOs, what they're charging, but obviously they're doing really well because the numbers have increased significantly over last year. So what I'm reporting is the 10 cents per gallon fuel flowage that we collect.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Thanks, Larry. Sarah, public outreach summary.
Thank you, Chair and Commissioners. I have a very brief summary of this past month on marketing, community, and planning outreach projects. As you know, we monitor voluntary curfew, and we send out letters when we can connect the complaint with a flight. There were 3 of those letters sent out in January. We also keep track of planning and development projects. Last month, there were 3 projects noted in the airport influence area. We continue to post and share things on media and social media fronts. Some of the recent projects, of course, or topics were Barrett-Jackson operations, and some of our most popular posts are actually about different and unique aircraft that are parked on the ramp. So it's kind of neat to see that. Yeah, I think we get a good response from that. We did have a Fox 10 news segment on private aviation and Phoenix Open, so I thought they did a really nice job showcasing the airport at that point. The schedulers and dispatchers was postponed and rescheduled for April 5th and 7th, so we'll be planning to attend that, and we're kind of working on our show messaging right now. And then the presentations are kind of coming up, so which is nice to see, where we've got a presentation for the Air Park Forum Luncheon on March 10th, and then Gary was asked to present at the DC Ranch Community Council Speaker Series on April 6th. And with that, it completes my presentation for today, unless there's any questions.
None here. Thanks, Sarah. Gary, give us the administrative report on pending aviation-related items.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, members of the Commission. Very quickly, no updates compared to last month, but the first slide is aviation-related items to the Planning Commission, DRB, or City Council that may be airport-related. These 4 projects are still on there. No updates on any Development Review Board dates for any of these projects. The one that was talked about last month is defined as Project Cactus, which is our Greenway Hangar and Shade location. There is no date yet for that Development Review Board. And then the next item is the lease agreement that you guys approved in January. It goes to City Council on 2/22/22. With that, I'll be happy to answer any questions.
It looks like a quiet month. Thanks, Gary. Item number 8, discussing and possible action to modify the commission meeting schedule and calendar.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Members of the Commission, as always, we provide this as an action item. You are incorporated in the packet is the current calendar for the rest of the year, and we'll be happy to answer any questions or if you want to make any modifications.
I have none. Do any other commissioners have any comments or change requested? No, and we have no public comments tonight. Therefore, this meeting is adjourned. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. We're ready to end the meeting.